Many months had passed since Goku and Frieza had landed on planet Yardet. Many things had happened during that time. During the duo's stay, King Kai had been keeping regular tabs on Goku about Frieza and just what he was doing on the planet. At first, it hadn't been much. The former Tyrants seemed to be motivated to train one day but then very quickly lost interest. But when Goku had shown him a very simple Aikido move when he asked for them to spar, his interest had once again been piqued. Goku had spent most of the time training Frieza in martial arts after he found that Frieza didn't even know how to fight or had any formal training. He knew this was likely because he had so much power to begin with, so he most likely never bothered with train. Frieza had wanted to quit a few times, saying there was too much to remember and it all felt bothersome, but Goku had simply baited him, saying if a simple monkey were able to do this better than what was here, it's not too much to say that he rarely needed to motivate Frieza to train after that final statement. Well, he had been training as well. After taking Frieza's advice to heart about trying his best to remain in Super Saiyan form as a form of training, it hadn't been easy as he found himself collapsing because of exhaustion after maintaining the form for a day. Frieza, of course, had been happy to receive praise for assisting in training, but in his mind it was more the thought that he hadn't fallen completely behind. It had taken a while, but Goku had finally been able to achieve it and now had been in the Super Saiyan form for a few months now. He often forgot how long exactly. Having someone as strong and quick learning as Frieza had been nothing but beneficial, as it pushed him to his limits every time they beat each other to prove who is better. This type of training had scared Frieza at first, but Goku always reminded him the purpose of these spars was to train and not kill each other. After having that guaranteed to him with a kiss on the forehead to seal the deal, he had found that he quite liked the thrill of battle and often found himself scolding himself for it, much to Goku's amusement. But the really surprising thing was what happened in one of their training sessions a few weeks ago. The elder Yardet was watching over after having taught them instant transmission, something that they were taking extreme liberties with to go all over the planet in their Madar races. Goku had been powering up to keep moving faster and faster till he had told Frieza he felt something. "What is it?" the Tyrant had asked, stopping their small game. "It's like I've reached a new level, almost feels like the time I reached Super Saiyan." That had surprised Frieza. "You think it's a form beyond Super Saiyan?" He nodded as the elder Yardet followed by others moved to stand by and watch. "Well then Goku, we don't have all day. Get to it." Goku just laughed before lifting a bit further into the sky as Frieza went to land next to the elder Yardet. "Don't even think about it," he said seemingly to nobody, till a small child appeared out of thin air that was eyeing his tail. "But I just want to touch it, Frieza," he sort of begged. Frieza hated how, because of Goku and the way he treats him, that all the beings on this planet thought they had the same liberties. He let out a growl. "Fine, but pay attention and don't distract me." The child held the tail in her hand happily. From what her father had told her, Goku and Frieza were the strongest in the universe. Frieza saw the smile on the child's face but decided to turn his focus to Goku's form hovering some distance away. Frieza heard him releasing a screaming, not as monstrous scream, not as when the first time, but for what he could sense, far more powerful. The ground shook as the skies started to storm a bit and electricity crackled, and then the burst. It almost blew everyone away, but the warriors had gotten in front, casting shields, whilst the child had held to Frieza's tail with a death grip and he just looked on. Just what is the limits of these Saiyans, thought Frieza as he felt the power rise. Then as quickly as it started, the commotion was over as the ground stopped shaking and Goku stood with his same look except for the few electric sparks flowing around his body. If Frieza had been the same as he was on Namek, relying on his scouter, then he would have thought nothing changed, but he could see the power in the ki flowing off Goku. He flew up to inspect the Saiyan. Quite impressive. Goku the Saiyan just blushed. "I know, right?" It feels like a whole level different, so I'm calling it Super Saiyan 2. Frieza just sighed. How original, he thought, but it was long until Frieza had matched up with his power but not his experience. So that was the form Goku was now training to maintain. Goku had told Frieza that the planet had been restored and everyone reviving with the Dragon Balls, so he didn't have to worry about Lord Beerus. Well, that had brought some comfort, but Frieza had told Goku even if they hid the evidence, that somehow Lord Beerus always knew when something did something, so he would most likely know it had been destroyed. When Goku had asked about Lord Beerus to King K, he had said that it was not the time for him to know anything about him, as he remembered him saying Lord Beerus will come to you. But I'm not sure if anyone ever wants that. One day, while they were training, the voice of King K interrupted their first, gokuxfrieza. They had both stopped, trying to cover their ears. Not so loud, King Kai, Goku had said, trying to recover. Why does he always do that? Asked Frieza. That doesn't matter right now, I mean you have to get back to Earth now. Frieza's father is on his way there. He is only a few days away. Goku was shocked. Why are you only telling us now? The line went silent. Well, you see, Frieza's father is used to dealing with divine beings, so he moved quietly. He found some transmissions from the forces Frieza had at the time. I think he has been so quiet that he was investigating what happened, and now he had his answer and is headed for Earth. The duo got the message, but Frieza was more amused than anything. My father, seeking vengeance. He laughed loudly. I don't believe such a thing. The most likely answer is he is trying to secure himself for recruit whoever could have possibly killed me. It doesn't matter. Frieza, looks like we have to go there now. They were far from the Earth, so they would need to use the instant transmission to get closer and arrive there quickly. Are you sure you can transport us that far? We've never done it at that distance before. Goku just gave a goofy grin and smiled. You don't even know, do you? Frieza just said, face palming. It took them a short time to get ready, and before they knew it, they were both stood in front of their pods, surrounded by a large crowd of Yardats as far as the eye could see. They were both wearing Yardat clothing, with Frieza donning the small armor as Goku. Although he mostly complained of how stuffy it was, Frieza would have not worn this had Goku not asked him to, because he had no need for clothes. It seems as if this is where our paths shall diverge for now, young ones. The elder stood before the two before giving them a bow, much to the gasp of all the surrounding Yardats. The pleasure has been all ours, Goku said, and turned to Frieza, waiting for him to say something. The former Tyrant had his arms wrapped around his chest with his chin raised, in an I'm better than this look. The tail he currently had wrapped around Goku's waist was a weakness through as Goku went to pinch it. Not so subtlety. Frieza did his best to resist the initial attacks, but final gave in, much to the amusement of the gathered crowd. Thank you for training us. Goku had wanted him to say something more, but it looked like it had been enough, as the elder just laughed. He had gotten to know Frieza's personality. Well, farewell then. And remember, you are always welcomed here, the elder said as Goku first got into the ship and settled down before Frieza joined him, sitting on his lap. Goku's arms immediately wrapped around his waist as Frieza laid his head back on Goku's chest, letting out a satisfied sigh. The pod door closed as the two settled in. Luckily, with the help of the Yardats and some of the knowledge Frieza had on his forces, they had managed to figure out how to operate the ship. They broke the atmosphere and were once again greeted by the sights of stars. They turned off the hibernation functions for now, as they who need to instant transmission all the way to Earth. Let's get going, Frieza, we gotta race.